Are you familiar with what will be going into this letter? Will scheduling the timing of things be in it?
I'm really not familiar with the letter. I'm just a structural guy that's on for the ride. But I will say my office is close to Graham's, and I know the folks over there. So I'll do what I can to help expedite the process.
I mean, I'd like to have that letter today sometime. I don't want to wait till
Well,
tomorrow.
as soon as the meeting's over, I'm going back to Houston, so I'll go straight to his office. And I think after he has his procedure, he'll probably go to work.
That's what I'm hoping. I know that my office this morning resent to him, faxed it and emailed to him the information from Ms. Fleming that said, you know, they need to have the information submitted in the letter. And essentially, it's making, this letter needs to, in addition to the documents, this letter needs to make your case as to why this emergency funding is needed.
Right.
So it's not real complicated, but it needs to be written so that when the commission reads through the letter, in addition to the documents, they understand the need for it. So essentially, it needs to include the condition of the foundation, you know, why is this an emergency? The fact that we have some cracks in our new west wall, you know, those types of items, and photos. We talked about when we had this meeting here not too long ago, we talked about including photos of that, and I believe that Graham went over and took the pictures that needed to go in with it.
And Lewis did say that he was going to stand by his cracks, right? That's what
He said that he's going to, yes, stand behind the cracks in the west wall.
So there are noticeable cracks in the new,
Their hairline, yeah, I mean, you see them. They're
Yes.
very, very, very small, but what it says is we still have some movement. And so that makes, again, this emergency funding is critical, because if we wait, then we could have damage to the newly restored west wall. And that's why we pushed, you know, a little while back and went up there and said, you know, THC just spent money, Karnes County spent money, we want our west wall to make sure that it's good, and the foundation is critical. Unfortunately, you know, they agreed for the supplemental funding, but it is a large amount, and that's why Sharon wants to make sure the letter is written very strongly to support it. And it's something that I could try to draft, but it's not my expertise, and therefore, that's why Graham and his team are working on it.
When we went up on the scaffolding, Luana, before they took it down, you could see them.
I just wanted it on record so the media picks it
Oh,
up.
no, I was just answering you, but, yeah, we could see them. And Lewis pointed them out.
You know, if complications happen and Graham, you know, ends up staying in the hospital, I can write a pretty strong letter. I'm not familiar with all the historical commission stuff. I know Mark and these folks, but usually people listen to the structural engineer.
You can help us then?
Well,
First of all, we hope Graham's okay. That's
yeah,
the first
yeah,
thing.
and he's going to be
We're seeing
fine.
the hospital, so
He's probably
that's our main concern.
out of the hospital now. He's probably on his way back to the office. I hope he's not driving himself. Of course not. Really, it comes down to a structural opinion, and what I
Can
tell
you
him
get it
in
to me
photo.
today? I'm still on my today.
An email's okay?
Email's fine, because I can
Okay.
scan it and get it to Sharon Fleming and Lorraine, and that's okay. It'll still come out in a blue signature, so they'll accept a scan as long as it's a PDF, or usually Sharon will. I'll take it to Austin tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't care. I just want it.
I believe that an email copy of the letter will be sufficient. That's my understanding. My understanding an email is adequate.
Okay, yeah, I can.
I just don't
can
like
do
that last minute thing right there at the,
I'm with you. I have high anxiety, so deadlines at my
Yes.
office. I'm only 25. I'm bald and gray. just because of my anxiety about deadlines, so I'll get on it.
thanks.
I have one other comment. We're supposed to approve these plans, right?
Yes.
Okay, I have one other comment about this question. Okay, we have a mechanical sheet, electrical sheet in here, and those are for references only where openings would be, is that correct?
Correct.
Mechanical, electrical is not included in this.
Correct. This is just for reference because it's in anticipation of phase 2.
Right.
And
Well, these last two sheets for y'all, and I'll tell James, are here for reference, so we know where to put the openings in the slab.
Oh,
But it will not have the mechanical section. I guess that needs to be a note on there.
yeah, I thought there was.
It probably is, I can't read the small print.
Well, we were gonna put it on the cover. Oh, on the cover it says it, but I'll put a stamp on each drawing too. We just didn't get.
Future Phase 2 drawings not in contract for Phase 1A, and it does say that on there, but yes, that'll be something that can be
thank
added.
you.
We usually put that same note on the drawing at 45 degrees, so when it stands out when they look, contractors and everybody look at it.
Thanks, Chip. We'll see you on future phase 2 submit.
All right. Item number 10. I'll make a motion to approve 95% construction documents for Orange County Courthouse Phase 1A foundation repair.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 3-0. Number 11 is to discuss approve Graham Loon fee proposal for architectural and engineering services related to the Karnes County Courthouse Phase 1 additional services. Lorraine?
Yes, and this item you approved last time for Graham to go ahead and do the documents to spend the rest of the grant money that you have left over in the Phase 1 project. And so previously, we just had his proposal without a fee because an architect needs to be selected based on professional services, procurement act, and not based on fee. So he did not include his fee when you selected him. So now we followed up and got his fee from him. Page 2 shows the total architectural and engineering fee for this portion of the Phase 1 will be $16,500. That's broken into two separate breakdowns in his proposal. There's an architectural services of $9,700 and an engineering of $6,800. And this will be, again, to spend, you have money left in your project contingency and your construction contingency, because remember, we got rid of all those finishes, the interior plaster and the things they were doing so you could kind of sort of move back in, but you really weren't moving back in. So we saved that money, and now we can use that to go ahead and help you with the things that are going to need to be done for both Phase 1A and in preparation of Phase 2. So again, this will be under the current grant funding for Phase 1, which is a 70-30 split, I believe.
Is this something that THC will reimburse?
And this is a reimbursable, yes, this is reimbursable with THC, approved by them, and they know that we want to use the rest of that money, because otherwise it goes back in.
Well, and I know there have
goes to
been some
someone
other
else.
things that we've tried to submit that they've held
And
back
they've
on.
taken back
So I
on,
wanted to be
yeah.
sure that this was.
This one is part of
Okay.
the approved.
I make a motion to approve Graham Loan fee of proposal of architect and engineering service related to Orange County Courthouse Phase 1 additional service.
A second motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries 3-0. The next item on the agenda is number 12, is to discuss approve asbestos and lead paint survey proposal from Clean Environment for the Karnes County Courthouse.
This one, it relates back to this Phase 1. Some of the things that need to be done is we need a complete asbestos survey of your entire courthouse building. Previously, when they did Phase 1, they only did the wings and they did parts of your building so that they could get through Phase 1. Well, each time these people come out and do these surveys, a big bulk of the cost is just them coming out. And then to have them do the rest of the building is just a few $100s. So I asked them to go ahead and give us their fee proposal for the entire building, identify all of the asbestos in that building, and then we'll go on to the next step. The proposal to do this survey for the entire courthouse building is $1,955. After they do the survey, there'll be two more proposals from them. One will, once we know how much asbestos there is, they'll prepare the bid documents in order for us to bid out the abatement. And that again will be part of this Phase 1, use up the rest of the Phase 1 money that needs to be done. They can't submit that proposal for the bid documents till we know what the extent of the asbestos is. There could just be one place where we have asbestos, there could be 30 places. So the next proposal I come to you with will be based on how much asbestos is there and will be for them to do the bid documents. Then the third proposal we'll get from them after the bid documents are bid and we know how the duration, they have to do air monitoring for the full duration of the abatement. So if the contractor is gonna be out there for 2 weeks, they'll give us a proposal for 2 weeks. If they're gonna be out there a month, it'll be a proposal for a month, et cetera. So we'll have 2 more proposals from them. This is just the first step. And it is $1,955 and it should be reimbursable by THC under your Phase 1 grant program.
Do we have to execute this, Lorraine?
Yes, if we can execute it after you approve it, that would be great.
I'll make a motion to approve the asbestos and lead paint survey proposal from the Clean Environments for the Orange County Court.
Tracy, can I ask you a question? Can we do an amendment and say for $1,955 allow me to execute?
And amend the amount of $1,955 and allow the county judge, Barbara Shaw, to execute.
Thank you, Tracy.
A second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries 3-1. Number 13 is to discuss approve Karnes County jail construction budget and jail site development costs, and that's Lorraine.
Okay, next in your packet, under the next orange tab, are some charts of your jail construction cost. The first page here shows the construction budget for the building. It's based on different square foot costs based on the square footage of where the building is. Now that we are, into our construction documents, the total building is at this time estimated at $5.9 million, $5,955,445. Now we do always have a 5% contingency at this time because we're still working through all of the details and prices. Price fluctuation, et cetera. So with a 5% contingency on that, we have a building jail cost of $6,253,217. If you go to the next page, I did a summary of project cost because your building cost is just a part of your project cost. So in that we have your we start with an FF&E budget, and the page following shows you a breakdown of what we have in your FF&E budget. That's your furnishings, fixtures, and equipment allowance. Survey and geotech was already paid out of previous budgets. We have the AD fee and the reimbursed expenses in there, your civil engineering expense. Site costs are a separate item or a separate chart that I have in the back, so we'll skip over that. So with your jail at the $6,253,217, which is shown on the first page that we just went over, we took out, you had $60,000 budgeted in previous years, so the remainder of that monies, we took the $39,000 off. So your jail cost for bond issuance is $7,073,534 without the site cost that we need to talk about in a minute. We have a project contingency of $150,000 and bond and issuance and financial advisor fees of $100,000 estimated for a total project cost without the site cost of $7,323,534. We go to the next page, your furnishings and fixtures and equipment allowance that we have budgeted. Your first item up there is $126,000 to relocate the tower and move your dispatch. That's one of the biggest expenses, and it's going to have to be done. Then we have telephone and data systems of $40,000, short life kitchen equipment of $7,000, inmate clothing and startup for the inmate clothing and indigent care packages of $2,200, mattresses and bedding $3,400, laundry startup to get your chemicals and etc. $350, cleaning supplies startup for buffers and cleaning supplies $1,000, inmate TVs and other furnishings in the inmate area $2,500, and then furnishings and fixtures to have desks and chairs and everything, so you don't just move into an empty building and then have to come up with money to furnish it, $68,550. So this is our furnishings and fixture budget of $251,000. Then the last page is your site cost considerations. As we started on this project and we started with the environmental engineers to start looking at the cost of the hazards and what's there and how are we going to clean it up, we started keeping a list of items on the site that is over and above the construction cost because these are unknown items. And when we got the geotechnical investigation back from the geotechnical engineer, it was found out that your soils are extremely expansive on that site. My geotechnical engineer said it's probably one of the worst sites he's ever seen in his career as far as expansive soils. It's just the nature of, you don't know what's underground until you test for it. So once we got the geotechnical engineering report back and we found out that we had to excavate and have 8 feet of select fill, I started putting together an analysis of additional costs that we have over and above what we anticipated. The construction budget, we anticipated 4 feet of select fill, which is pretty expansive. 2 feet is very common. 2 to 4 is reasonable for budget numbers, but 8 feet is double what is a normal anticipated cost for foundation preparation. Once you get into 8 feet of fill, piers start being an equal to the cost, and we really want to look at doing, if you're going to do 8 feet of select fill, you'll want to do piers because that's going to cost the same as 8 feet of select fill and give you an even stronger foundation. And then additionally, let me just kind of go through these items. Then there were some other items that came up as we met with the city and looked at what their concerns were and the things that they were requesting. And what I did on the jail site consideration impact construction cost chart is I have a low and a high because some of these items are still unknowns, and so we're guesstimating what we feel like is the low cost for some of these unknowns and what would be the maximum cost impact cost on some of these unknowns. First of all, site demolition. We've had price proposals, not proposals, but we've had price budgets as high as like $90,000 on site demolition. The people that I've talked to feel like we can get this done for anywhere between $30,000 and $40,000. But again, people that, Commissioner Gower has tried to contact some different people and just get some ideas, and we've had, he's gotten some numbers as high as $75,000 to $90,000. So we have in here for site demolition a low of 30 and a high of 75 to demolish the buildings there. Environmental cleanup, and the last item on my agenda is to go over the latest on the environmental site study. We have a low of 50,000, a high of 195,000. So again, that's still an unknown because we have another step we have to take on analyzing what they found at the site on the last sampling. The next phase of the environmental testing, which is your next agenda item, is a low of 17,000, a high of 18,900. Your sewer, depending on, there's 2 different ways the city is talking about us handling the sewer. One would require a lift station, one would not. So depending on which way they let us go, we have a low of 20,000 to 60,000 in sewer costs. Because of the geotechnical engineering report and the expansive soils, we're going to need geofabric at our paving, which is a cost of about $25,000. The over excavation on the site, based on the reports we received back, is a $60,000 cost. Just the slope of the site and having to push the building to the back of the site is $75,000. The city's requesting a second driveway
That might not
so
be an
that.
issue anymore. That was something Mr. Pittman wanted. He's not there, so that was in his request.
Okay, so that will not be an issue. So that the 20,000 can come off. So that's good.
We don't know that.
I said, we don't know it for sure, but that was only his request.
Okay, it could
remember?
come back. Yes, that's something that when we
He
met
said
with
it's something
him,
he personally wanted.
he wanted 2 drives because they didn't want emergency vehicles driving out through past the post office. Okay, so that may go away. The foundation select fill was this was the big kicker, and that's when we started thinking, okay, some of these we have contingency, we can swallow them. But when the foundation, that extra 4 feet of select fill is $180,000 is what it costs to do the full 8 feet. Or, like I'm saying, I think we should just go to Pierce, because once the cost is, if it's an equal cost, a Pierce is gonna give you a more stable foundation. This is another.
Okay, that includes the removal of dirt from there also?
Yes.
Does that?
Yes, the 180 is everything for that extra 4 feet, which is removal of dirt as well as the fill material. Fencing a jail portion of the property, again, was a city request to have a fence around the jail, which is $60,000 to $70,000. So that may go away, depending on, most county jails are not fenced. I mean, your security perimeter is your concrete wall and your concrete ceilings and roofs. Prisons and detention centers are fenced. I mean, that's just because your security perimeter is your fence. But on a jail, typically they're not. And if they are, just small portions of them are fenced. So it's not common to fence them, but some are. But the city was requesting a fence, and that's to the tune of about $60,000 to $70,000. And then, you know, with these additional costs on the different work involved here, you know, your A fees would go up proportionally. So I included those because I wanted to give you a comprehensive, this is what this, you know, the cost impact of this site is anywhere between $577,000 and $837,000. So what needs to happen today is approve the jail budget and approve the site cost, knowing that, you know, we have a low and a high. Once we have all the knowns figured out, we can come back and get the actual final budget approved. But I need to know that that you're aware of these potential additional costs and that you want to go forward with this site so we can finish up the documents. Because we have, you know, we're very close to being finished, and we've held off on some things. Like I told my engineer, don't go forward on the foundation until we know if we're going to do piers or not. But most of the rest of the documents, other than just connecting utilities, et cetera, are very close to being complete. And we really need to resolve, are we going to look for another site, or are we going to go ahead and stay with this site? And then if we stay with this site, what you do is you take the $6,253,217, and we need to add, you know, the high would be 8 plus 837,317 for your total potential project cost, or a low of adding 577,275.
All right, looking at this, we have $7 million bond, which we expect the jail to cost. Okay, we're having some problem with the site. Any place I would look for a site, we haven't found one. Other than this, we have $450,000 in contingency in this project. Of course, we expect to use some of that, may not use all of it. So with these total costs here estimated, a maximum of 800 and something. So this might cost us, I mean, if everything goes well, it may cost us $500,000 more than the $500,000 to $750,000 more than the $7 million. So the question is, do we want to go ahead with this project today until we find out something worse? Or what? Is that what the question is?
The question is, yeah, do we want to stay with this site with the understanding that this site, an increased cost of this site is anywhere between $577,000 and $837,000 is what it's costing to build on this site. Finding another site is, you know, and what will the soils be at the other site, you know. Some of these, if you go and find another site, you may run into some of these same problems. We may do the geotech, and it could be another really bad site. Until you do the geotech, you don't know. Soils in this area typically are not as expansive as this particular site is, but this one is. The hazards would be something that you would know going into. I mean, if you went to a different site, the cost of hazardous cleanup could be eliminated if we just made sure we pick a site that has no history on it. But utilities is another factor, you know, getting utilities, whatever other site you potentially could go to, you still would have to deal with,
You gotta run
do
into
you have
extra different
utilities?
costs.
That's right. And one of the other things, I think one of the reasons for wanting that so close is they wanted it close to the courthouse.
Mhm.
What are the requirements as to the courthouse legally? That the jail be in the same town?
No,
Just
there's
with-
no,
okay.
yeah,
So,
but it just, it's cost of,
transport.
yes, yeah. So, because that could rack up your costs,
Yeah.
because we all know that, you know, in a project that even though we're talking about $7 million, $8 million is a lot of money, I mean, that's like 10% of the cost of, if you life cycle out your project of operations, maintenance, and staffing, it's only 10% of what a project costs, you know? So anytime you can save operations, maintenance, and staffing is a huge savings overall.
And our main deal is sewer, water. That's our main deal. We gotta have it somewhere where they have sewer and water. Sewer and sewer and water.
We've got another site out 5 miles from here to be sewer and water.
Yeah, then we have to have a sewer plant, and be able to get water to it.
Right.
It costs you the same amount
It
as it
would.
is to clean this up.
Oh, but goodness, because a commercial well and then a sewage treatment plant, yes,
That's
it would cost
crazy.
as much.
I know the sewage part.
Yes, sir, because we did look at that. I mean, I know that Commissioner Yower and I talked, and we looked at a lot of different things, and we did run some different numbers by on-site sewage treatment, additional, you know, a commercial well and that type, and the
Good water
cost
well costs you 60 to 80,000.
easily.
All right, I make a motion to approve the Kent Orange County Jail construction budget and jail site development cost.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries 3-0. Number 14, are we still with you, Lorraine?
Yes, that's the last
Discuss and move Phase 2 environmental site assessment from Chapman Engineering for the jail site on East Wall Street and approve additional testing in the amount not to exceed $18,900, and that's Lorraine.
Okay, so lastly, we received back the Phase 2 environmental study based on the last approval the Commissioner Court had for us to do the different testing. If you go to the yellow tab, that's gonna be the best way for me to kind of just give you a summary overview. I included their entire Phase 2 report here. On the yellow tab is your site. 2 buildings, Building C, which is circled, and Building A, which is circled. These 2 buildings have potential negative impact. Everything else on the site can be demolished at this time and has been cleared. So Building C, after, it actually is approved to be demolished, but we need to do another sample there under the foundation just to make sure, based on the readings that they got, that we don't have additional potential problems at that Building C location. So Building C needs to be demolished and we need to do an additional test there. Building A is that main building there that had the equipment or the gym in it, and it has your highest potential problem. 18 additional samples are proposed. If you look at the last page, those show the additional samples that they're proposing around Building A based on the results that they received back on their last testing. Primarily, and I highlighted the report for you in different areas, but primarily we tested, arsenic was detected in all the soil samples, but it only exceeded, you know, allowable amounts in certain samples, because you have chemicals in the air all the time that you breathe and all around you. So there's the government has set up certain standards, they call them tiers, of allowable chemicals and compounds in soils, etc. So in the testing, only sample A2 and A3 were over and above what was allowable, and then A4 exceeded a tier 1 PCL for multiple compounds. So we have 3 samples that are potential problems, and so that dictates that we need to do additional testing, and the proposal for the additional testing is in the amount of the $18,000, not to exceed $18,900. I know Road and Bridge is really busy. The engineer says that we do need to get a little bit of the land cleared in order for them to do some of this testing, so I need to find out if that's something that Road and Bridge can help us with, or if we need to, contract with somebody to do that. But, the more land that we can get cleared, it'll drop this $18,900 down, because it'll make it easier for them to get in there and get their samples done. So based on the,
How soon do you need someone in there to clear?
as soon as possible, only because the sooner they can get back there and do their testing, the sooner we can, be ready to
Jeff, is our
deal with that
dozer up
building.
and going? Could we be able to do it, or we need to hire somebody?
Well, I can bring that track loader in too, either way. I'm doing some maintenance on the dozer right now, but, we can bring the front end loader and do it. What do y'all just need some strips cut through there?
Trees.
Yeah, if I can show you which building it is, and these are the areas they're gonna be doing the sampling around. It's just this, it's building A, which, and I can leave a copy of this with you, yes. Yeah, building A is just this main building right here.
Okay.
So they just need to get around this building to take these samples.
Yeah.
So if that's something that you guys can do, it'll save the county money, and it'll make it go faster. Because the 18.9 is their worst case scenario, and like he said, the easier it is for them to get in there, the faster it will go, and they can,
I'll make a motion to approve phase 2 environmental site assessment from Chapman Engineering for the jail site, east walls and tree. Approved additional testing in the amount of not to exceed $18,900.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
thank you.
Any opposed, none, motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Number 15 is discuss approve, disapprove 2013 holidays in Orange County. There's a Luana made a proposed county holiday schedule, which would include January 1st, which is a Tuesday, January 21st, Monday, Martin Luther King's Day, February 18th, Monday, President's Day, March 29th is a Friday, that's Good Friday, May 27th is a Monday, that's Memorial Day, July 4th is a Thursday, that's Independence Day, September 3rd is Monday, Labor Day, October 14th is Monday, Columbus Day, November 11th is Monday, Veterans Day, November 20th, Wednesday, Thanksgiving, that half a day, November 24th, Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, November 22nd, that's the Friday after Thanksgiving, December 23rd is Christmas, it's just Christmas holiday, it's Monday because Christmas falls on Tuesday, the 24th, and then Wednesday, December 25th. You guys all have a copy of that in your package.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2013 holidays in Orange County on the attachment, the 15 days included.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion, any opposed? I'm so sorry. Motion carries 3-0. Number 16 is the observance of the auditor's salary and salary of auditor's department and filling of each orders in the minutes of Commissioner's Court as required by Local Government Code 152.013. Local Government Code, Subchapter C, amount of compensation expenses of the county auditor and assistants, and then the district clerk shall certify the orders to the Commissioner's Court to be filed. Luana's is $52,000 per year. Michelle Solias is $35,360 per year. And Leanna K. Martin is $24,960 per year.
Leanna's is not to exceed the 24,960.
I'm sorry.
The other two are set amounts, but hers is not to exceed that.
Okay, thank you. So, Leanna's is not to exceed the 24,000. Will you hand that to Carol? And number 17 is to discuss, approve, disapprove, out-of-cycle payment of Daly and Spears Architects November, December 2012 invoices in regard to the construction of the new jail. We'll want to put that on here because it had to be pending she needs to pay Lorraine pending our approval of the resolution.
So we approve this.
Yes, I just need a motion
I'll
to.
make a motion to approve the out-of-cycle payment of Daly and Spears Architects November and December 2012 invoices in regard to the construction of the new jail.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries 3-0. That's going to put us to number 20. Discuss, approve, disapprove advertising for the emergency management coordinator position. I put that on here. Shelby's our emergency management coordinator. And Shelby becomes a commissioner. You can't be elected and appointed, and I appoint the emergency management coordinator, so I need authorization to advertise for one.
I make a motion to approve advertising for emergency management coordinator position.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries 3-0. Number 21 on the agenda is to discuss, approve, disapprove a ban on aerial fireworks, and consider order prohibiting certain fireworks in unincorporated areas of Karnes County, and take appropriate actions and allow county judge to execute if approved. I called Charlie Malik yesterday. He's usually our go-to guy for the fireworks. He says he does not see any reason to prohibit any fireworks. He says it's cool and it's humid, and he does not foresee any problems.
So we just need to approve.
I have to have a motion on it because it's under the local government code. We have to before tomorrow. It's up to y'all. I mean,
It's pretty dry out there.
now, we do have, just because Charlie said, I'm just telling you what he said, that doesn't make it. Every once in a while, what we do is
We always do the aerial one.
right, we can ban the aerials, and that's going to be aerials and missiles with fins.
Right.
Is what it is. It's the things that fly through the air really far. And I do have an order in here. It's in here, and there it is. And Rick, I found Rick's letter. Jeff. You probably don't want it. It says the same as yours, but I gave her Rick's instead of mine. There you go. Sorry about that. Here's the order. It just says it would be prohibiting certain fireworks in the unincorporated areas of Karnes County, and that would be no person may sell, detonate, or ignite those classified under 49 Code of Federal Regulations, and that's skyrockets with sticks and missiles with fins. And so that just keeps the ones that can shoot real far out into the fields or whatever and it ignites. That doesn't stop your Roman candles and your simple stuff. You can still have pretty displays.
I make a motion to approve the ban of the aerial fireworks with the ones with sticks and fins, prohibiting certain fireworks unincorporated Karnes County, Texas, take appropriate action, allowing the county judge to execute if.
I got a question just really quick. Luana, have you heard, or Joe, have you heard, has anybody heard if Kennedy's gonna have their display?
They are.
They are? So do we need to
Put
amend
amend that,
to, that this will not affect the pyrotechnical display for Kennedy?
right.
Can we do that? Can we amend that and do that so Kennedy?
Well, I think it says in your motion unincorporated areas, so that would already allow Kennedy to do it because they're an incorporated area.
Yeah, but if you remember, the question came up with Rundy too, and they asked us to go ahead and in our motion, and we ended up doing something, giving them an exemption. I want Kennedy to know that we're not picking at them, or I want them to know they can go on and do whatever they want. So can we do that? You amended it like that? Is that okay by you, Pete? All right. All in favor, say aye. Motion carries 3-0. Let me sign this one and hand it to Carol real quick. Thank you, Tracy. Number 22 is discuss, approve, disapprove the purchase of a haul trailer amendment not to exceed the amount of $49,000 for road and bridge. And Jeff he was not able to get the exact amount because we were waiting on it Monday. So, I mean, yeah, we were waiting on it at the time of the agenda, so I have an exact amount. And the amount is $44,416.96.
And that allows for a $5,000 trade-in allowance on our current haul trailer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve purchase of a haul trailer amendment not to exceed the amount of $44,416.96, including the $5,000 trade allowance.
I say,
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Number 23 on the agenda is to discuss, approve, disapprove bonds for the elected officials that will take office on January 1st. Elected is Dennis Finner, Donald Hans, Fernando Martinez, Fernando Rios, David Sotelo, Brenda Yanisak, Herb Hancock, and Dwayne Villanueva. And for the appointed, it's Jeff. And Jeff, I don't think you needed to be on here. I think I can approve yours without, but I put it on here just in case. I couldn't remember. I didn't look it up.
I second it.
I haven't made a motion yet, but
I'll make a motion to approve, John.
Can you do that before they're actually in office?
yes.
I thought it was after they were sworn in, they had a certain amount of time to do that.
It's gotta be done before the 10th, but my clarification from Listserv and Jim and everybody bouncing back and forth, yes, we can approve, we can make a motion to approve bonds for these people.
Contingent on their swearing in.
Well, and we can, you wanna amend it to say contingent on their swearing in ceremony? And then we can, get them done.
And then we'll have to, in January, approve the continuation bonds for all the other officials.
Yes, ma'am. And we can, but now they're just ready to be signed come January 2nd.
You want to second it, Pete?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries 3-0. Number 24 is the tax collector's report.
Good morning.
Good morning, Brenda.
Okay, this is a report for collections for the month of November. For the county, collections for the month of November, $335,196.98. Year-to-date, $614,221.16 for a collection rate of 7.62%. Delinquent taxes collected for Karnes County month of November, $7,617.99. Year-to-date, $14,605.16. Collection rate on delinquent rolls, 7.36%. And road and bridge for the month of November, collected for the month of November, $79,477.40, Year-to-date, $145,526.01 for a collection rate of 7.55%. Delinquent taxes, road and bridge collected in November, $919.55. Year-to-date, $1,710.62 for a percentage of delinquent roll collected, 9.21%. Emergency fire, taxes collected for November, $42,199.43. Year-to-date, $77,333.02 for a collection rate of 7.685%. Delinquent roll, emergency fire for the month of November, $522.78. Year-to-date, $970.87 for a collection rate of 10.3449%.
Thank you, Brenda. Luana, you have bills? What? Oh, why? I already put a check mark on you. Discuss, examine, disapprove, approve treasurer's report. Sorry, Vi.
No.
I checked it off.
I'm awfully quiet today, but you know. Hey.
Sorry.
Luana's snickering at me over here.
I'm snickering at Tracy.
What'd you say?
I didn't say that.
Joe, you got that on tape, because I'm gonna go back and listen to it.
Good luck tomorrow.
Go Beavers.
Did you give me the signed copy, Vi?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, there was nobody in your office, but I put it on
I
somebody's
know, I
desk.
had them on the desk, and what did I do with your signed copy? I gave them all one, did I give you all the signed copy? Because I know I read it, I went through them. Here it is. Let me see. Kept the original. I always wrote your signature on the back, and I know it's the original, yes.
Oh, you're the one that gets a signed one.
Oh.
I make my copies first and then I sign
Oh, okay,
yours.
okay, sorry. You guys are good? Y'all match? Y'all are together?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries
And just remember, gentlemen, we do have a meeting at 11 to approve the budget for the Christmas party tomorrow night. I apologize for not getting that in a timely manner to be on this agenda, so.
Okay, it's gonna take 5 seconds.
Yeah, but you've got 25 minutes before 11, so nobody move. Page 1, the first 3 items are costs incurred in regard to the courthouse restoration, total of $6,728.79. We have our quarterly payment towards the Karnes County Appraisal District's operating budget, about halfway down page 1 of $29,143.61.
On page 1, Denton Barrow, those tax abatements, are they reimbursable expenses?
They will be submitted to them for reimbursement. I have one pending reimbursement that I've already submitted that they have not received.
How long you want it?
Huh.
How long?
Probably 4 or 5 weeks. I do have an envelope on my desk from Duff and Phelps, so I'm hoping that's it. But yes, this will be submitted.
If not, let me know, we'll give them a call.
On page 3, about halfway down, $6,978. That is the new copier in the annex at 200 East Calvert. That was included in capital outlay in the budget. Most other expenses are of the normal operations. In the cycle on page 9, you will notice a whopping expenditure of $216,600 for the 2 new Kenworth tractors for Road and Bridge. Total Road and Bridge expenditures for this cycle is $247,860.07. Those were budgeted vehicle costs. So the total bills being paid in this cycle in December, which is the only cycle that will be paid, is $417,597.27.
Also, I've got 2 new Tahoes on this cycle. I've got 2 2013 Tahoes that I just paid for too for the sheriff's department, so.
Are you gonna take one of those with you?
I've been thinking about it.
Going away from,
He will not.
Come on, boy.
I tried.
It's just a season to be jolly and get him moving.
I'll make a motion to pay the bill.
All in favor, say aye.
That's what I'm thinking.
Repeat the initial that, please.
Say it again.
Not on my watch.
you can always try.
So how much for that small motion?
You got insurance on them yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Report of fees, fines, and money collected by the following departments, county clerks. Carol Lester's up here, it was $48,832.25. District clerk, she leaves that up here, I technically don't look at her report, so, I mean, I don't know what she, I'm not used to reading her report, so I really don't know what her numbers are. She has like, that kind of stuff, I don't.
On that front page,
So-
I should tell you.
Courthouse security, it says collected $8,540. Courthouse security fund, $95. Record management's $115. Record management and preservation clerk, $115. And then she does a criminal report, and it says collected $18,010. And she has her 81st and 218th judicial. It's Atascosa County Auditor, pre-sentence investigation 7059, pre-trial diversions $484.11. Felony probation $7,208 for a total of $7,762.70. And then with by for the Karnes County Treasurer, she has courthouse security $1748, records management $7723. Records management and preservation for the clerk over here, $875. Juvenile probation and juvenile drug fees, $4.44. And criminal fees of $10,139.40. Ms. Crabtree left the hot check fund with me, so I'll tell you what that one says. Restitution for November was $2,238.05 for year-to-date of $33,698.43. Her court costs were $57.84 for a total of $8,176.69. And it says, total monies collected by the county attorney's office 1/1/12 through 1/11/30/12 is $41,875.12. And then she says year-to-date, compared year-to-date, last year she was at $41,804.50. So she's about, yes. I think that's all the reports that I have up here in front of me. Anybody else want to give a report? Does anybody else? Do you have yours, Helen?
Yes.
Thank you, Helen.
Mine is for the special projects on developments. We collected $450. On the OSSF permits, we collected $3,750.
Thank you, Helen. Anybody else have a report? All right, then let's go to number 28, report from Road and Bridge Department. Jeff? Oh, I'm sorry, I got something else up here. Who's this from? No, this is Brenda's, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Well, you
That's
said
it.
some things.
Anyway, that's all
Saving
the
tree.
requests, that's only half of them. Rick did with this to my desk earlier enough to make copies, so I'm missing Rick's. There should be another bundle about like that. We're running forward with everything, we're getting quite a bit done, like Rick said. But a lot of this, getting a lot done, is it contributing to some of the new equipment we have in like the trucks where we don't have no downtime on them, and they're really making a big difference for us. We're getting a lot more done, so that's appreciation for all that, because that does make our job a lot easier.
They need more drivers, huh?
That's it. That's it. Hired we got a new hire. And so he's was up in Gonzales. He worked, went into the oil field and decided to leave the oil field, and called me and asked me if we're hiring. I said yes. I told him what we're hiring for, and he joined our force. He worked for Gonzales for I think 11 years. So we got some Gonzales blood in there.
JD said he also has somebody that he was going to talk to you about that has some kind of,
Soil stabilizer.
yes.
Yes. Yes.
Have you talked to him about that? That he
Yes.
wants to do a half mile for you,
Yes.
just to see what it would
Yeah.
do?
Oh, yeah.
Is he gonna supply the stuff?
Yeah, the guy's gonna come in and do a half
Better
mile
than
for
the
Jeff.
other guy.
or Jeff
The
will
other
send
guy
him.
wanted us to do it for 8,000, he wanted us to give him 8,000.
I suggested you want to
And
sell
he
a
was
product,
gonna
you
show
can
us.
market that product.
I said,
So
if
he's
you're
gonna
gonna
market
show
that
us,
to
you
you,
should do it for free.
You're selling.
Demonstration, exactly.
You know?
Custom soil stabilizer. We get our new water truck and stuff, we'll be running some product out of Pleasanton, where we'll be trying to keep some of these people happy. We'll finally have a truck where we can distribute dust control, so that's gonna help us a lot. But the truck will be here, well, it's sitting in the same room, but we'll get it next month.
Thanks, Jeff.
But
Luana? No, they will put that next one.
As previously mentioned, the printout through the system is correct as far as coinciding with the treasurer's report. There were no debt requirement payments issued in the last 30 days. The final page of my report is items of interest. Total funds available as of November 30th was $13,399,330.84. Total funds invested as of November 30th, $13,003,325.60. So total non-invested funds as received in the system were $396,005.24. You'll notice the two asterisks if you go down to the bottom. We had some reimbursements from the Historical Commission. One was received by the bank on October 25th of $124,579.52. And then another one was received on November 28th of $99,129.05. Neither of these were receipted in the system as of the end of the month, so therefore those dollars were not included in any investments done. So technically, the total non-invested funds as of November 30th is $619,714.31, as opposed to what's actually shown on the system report. We had sales tax receipts during November, received on the 13th of $947,858.80. For the same period last year, our receipts were $375,603.68. So we have an increase of $572,255.12, which is 252% plus
Just for the
increase.
month?
Just for the month. Correct.
And that is money, Tracy, that is ours. It's not what we actually collected. The state takes their percentage out and then sends that to us. So that is our money.
balance.
Yes.
Good deal.
And then we do have one outstanding,
Not yet.
we have one outstanding request to THC for reimbursement of $8,512.46.
Luana, how long does it take to receive them into the system for like for the one for 1025? How long do y'all do?
We
The
received,
next one. That was my fault, plain and simple. I just overlooked it. That was my fault.
we receive a notice from the state comptroller's office when, or it's posted on their website when funds are dispersed from them. Vi tends to not receipt them in until she receives the notice from the bank.
Okay, Paul's not here, James is not here, Tracy?
Oh, my report. All right, permits received in November 2012 for road bores, water lines, and entrances was $38,090. In December up to date has been $33,610 for a total of, for the year, of $554,865.
Thanks, Tracy.
Over $500,000.
Pete?
Okay, on the annex, I did have a call from David Vogel last week, said he's gonna close out Kruger's final billing. We had a air conditioning problem with 3 of the offices in there, and Smarts were out, and Kennedy no longer operating there, I suppose. So they didn't respond. We had to get Crossroads to install it from,
Yeah, Victoria.
They did use it.
Out of Victoria? Victoria?
Yes. So,
Hey, once David Vogel submits that final building to Kruger, do we finally get to accept the building? I mean, will it,
we accept it.
well, I know what you're saying, but I mean, like, final costs from Kruger and everything will be done. Is it all those final costs complete now?
Except that we don't have the handrail on it. We'll hold that. From them, then I got to pay for that now. Certainly after it's completed.
I mean, because there's a lot of, and Luana and I talked about it, she said the building's not complete, because we don't have the parking lot and stuff, but I think a lot of people want to see the final number of just that, of the building less the parking lot. I get a lot of calls wanting to know that number. And so, once Vogel's done, I guess we can do that. All right. Anybody else? Did I get everybody?
Can I say something?
Yes, sir?
I just want to appreciate everybody letting me be around for the last 8 years. Started this in January 2005, first commission report was, I think, lasted 15 minutes. We had to wake up Bob to tell him to leave. And it's been a real fun ride. I mean, it's been very entertaining at sometimes. It's been very heartfelt sometimes where everybody has to come together. But this is my last commissioner's court being sheriff. And I want to thank everybody, including citizens, let me protect y'all and get y'all into the 21st century. I thank y'all much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Get right through to you.
All right, that's-
No, we're not gonna adjourn, we're gonna recess.
we're gonna recess
Till tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
till tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
Is there a motion for that, or?
No.
What about the party approval? Isn't that all?
That's at 11. That's a second meeting.
Yeah, it's a second.
It's an actual separate posting.
Unless since we're gonna
But thank you
recess
for
that
being
long.
In 10 minutes.
Tracy, go ahead.
Well, I
I'll
just
do a
wanted
motion
to all
to
run away, and then
recess
you'll
that
get your
for
party.
your time.
Parties are
I have to walk
important.
back in, 'cause that way-
Good motivation.
I don't, if something happened and I